Hi, this is Jeff Curto, and welcome to episode number 106 of Camera Position, the podcast about the creative side of photography. So in the summer of 1983, I was just graduated from graduate school and was fortunate enough to attend one of the very last Ansel Adams workshops. And the workshop was held in Carmel, California, and there were a number of other great photography teachers there. Wright Morris and Olivia Parker and John Sexton and a huge number of people. But one of the people that I met at that time was a woman who ended up becoming a longtime friend of mine and also ended up being one of the most important voices about photography that there is in America today. And her name is Mary Virginia Swanson. Swan, or Swanee as most of her friends call her, is an author. She has written, along with Darius Himes, a book called Publish Your Photography Book, where they lay out the details about how to publish a book of your photographs. She also has written a book about marketing your photography, and she is also a really noted consultant who many photographers have used to help advance their careers, including me. And her time is incredibly useful to you in terms of getting you to the right place at the right time and getting you in front of the right people. So recently, Swan was one of our guests for a day about marketing your photography, creating your arts marketing presence at the school where I teach, College of DuPage. And I was fortunate to get her to sit down with me and talk about contemporary issues in photography, wide-ranging topics from publishing to learning photography to exhibiting photographic work. So over the next few episodes of Camera Position, I'll share bits and pieces of that conversation that I had with Mary Virginia Swanson.
May 1st, College of DuPage.
May 1st.
May 1st, 2012.
So I guess the thing that I'm really interested in, I'm interested in the way in which everything's changed every 5 years in the last 20. It's like 20 years ago, like the world of photography was one way. 15 years ago, it was a completely different way. 10 years. So what's it like right now? Where is photography?
Oh my goodness, photography is in every part of every corner of the world. It's in every industry, it's in every home, it's in every hotel, it's in everything. It's everywhere we go. Shopping bags have photographs on them. Buses have photographs on them. Subway cars. The part of the lecture I showed you last night to your students had everything from print ads to album covers to bus wraps to you name it. Photographs are everywhere. That's the good news. The bad news is everybody's a photographer, although some might say that's good news as well, because it's raising the level of visual literacy in our world. How that's impacted professional photographers, however, is that the values perceived have dropped. In other words, why should they hire a photographer to photograph their wedding when Uncle Joe is a pretty good amateur photographer? And they can print them at home and make a book.
It's one of the things that I've noticed is the equipment has all gotten so good that it's pretty forgiving of people who don't really know about the technical side of photography, which is why I've always sort of emphasized thinking about the creative side of photography and thinking about what it is that you put into your work. Today when you were talking with my students, you talked a lot about the sense of what it is that they wanted to say. What do you want this to communicate? Which I think is probably one of the hardest things for photographers to do. How do they go about figuring that out? I mean, where do they come up with that? What do you want to say?
Right.
Thing?
I often question or challenge them on, what do you want me to feel when I leave the experience of seeing your work, whether it's in a portfolio or on the wall, or I've been at a slideshow of your work. What do you want me to feel? What do you want me to think? Is there a call to action? Is there, do you want me to be looking in at my own life experience, or should it change my world? And that often helps them to sort of drill down to what they really want to say, in fact, to direct that action.
Is it the audience that's important, or is it the photographer's own personal sort of view of the world that's important? And I think most photographers approach the medium by saying, this is the thing I believe, this is the thing I love, this is the place I would like to show you. How important is thinking about who's going to eventually see this?
Well, I'd love for people to think about that after they have made work, or at least are on the path of making work that's coming from their own experience and their own heart, and have the work be authentic to their personal mantra, as it were. Then they can decide who they want to talk to, who are they speaking to with that work. I don't think it should be market driven in that sense, or audience driven. I find that when people say to me, oh, well, I was really involved in shooting horses, and then I found out that, John and Jane Doe are also shooting horses, so I'm going to do something else. It's like, wait a minute. What is it about horses, or, insert your subject here, that has a grip on you? Because you can't ignore that. That's the place that work comes from. Just because Paul Strand has a white picket fence in a photograph, or there's this rock in Yosemite that's been photographed a few times, you can't just say, well, Yosemite's been done, I'm not going to go there. Everyone has their own voice. And so I get a little nervous when I hear people say, well, there's a lot of work about that, so I'm going to do something else. It's like, I want you to make work that you just can't resist making.
One of the things I talk about in my history of photography class is that every subject in photography, every possible subject, was articulated in the first 30 years. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really anything new after about 1870 or so that could be photographed. Mm-hmm. I mean, just everything was photographed. The heavens, underwater, the land, people, giant mountains, yeah. Little towns, big cities.
Yeah. Bowls of fruit,
the whole thing. And so it's like the Goldberg variations on Bach's music, that there's all kinds of different things you can do with this set of possibilities.
Yeah.
So I think that's that passion part is the part that I think is an interesting. I mean, it's the interesting vector. And from my perspective as a longtime teacher of photography, students oftentimes try to make work that they think I will find interesting, which is always the wrong way around it.
Right. They have to make work that's interesting to them and challenging to them all the time. Yeah. Otherwise, the work isn't coming from that place of heart and authenticity.
In the next episode of Camera Position, we'll pick up with our conversation with Mary Virginia Swanson.
Finding the audience is part 2, essentially.